So, I'm starting this recording with a very normal thing, because hi, this is Doc, aka Ribusadora. And I like to draw things and explain things and stuff like that. I'm recording this in order to explain what I use for my artwork. This is not scripted, this is not rehearsed, and this is going to be embarrassing. You're going to hear my accent, you're going to hear an occasional cough, because I'm still fighting my cold. The thing I'm using here is my cutting mat and a chalk marker, which you can acquire at any building materials shop, and it is easily removed from any surface. That's why I like it. So yeah, first things first. Today I'm going to list down the things I paint with and draw with, and the only common denominator is that it's all traditional technique and it is all water soluble. So yeah, I'm recording this just to give you the idea of what I'm working with, and most of the brands are either Russian or most likely Chinese. They are easy to acquire, the latter. The Chinese ones are easy to acquire, but don't stick to the names. I'm just going to explain things like, like I use them. So anything I'm mentioning here can be thinned by water, except for maybe pencils, but not all of them. There is going to be some shaking of the camera and some noises of my chair. So the only thing I'm not going to show you how it works today is the thing that made it possible for me to make stuff like this, because it's paste for sculpting images. It is usually used for stuff like flowers, stuff like that. So you see, looks like this. It is also water soluble. It is easily sculpted, but today I'm not using it. I'm just showing you that this thing exists. Most likely it is called something like sculpting paste. From time to time I use the canvases that are based on something tough. In this case it's cardboard and magnet. Not today though. In some cases I use paper that is almost as thick as cardboard. You can use it to paint in, say, acrylics or oils. In this case this is oils. The difference from the normal actual paper is that this is the thickness is measured in grams to a square meter, and this is 360 grams per square meter. But currently my paper of choice is paper that is made specifically for watercolors, and this one is, I think this brand is Malevich. Yeah, it is. This one is rather thin, and this is a cellulose paper, but here is where it gets better. There is paper that is based on cotton, and it works better with watercolors. So, where is this example? This is also a watercolor paper. It is 100% cotton, and the thickness of it is 300 grams per square meter. And if you work with this and have a laminating machine, you can do stuff like this. So yeah, this is my current obsession. So yeah, most people that are brave enough to share their address with me are going to get bookmarks from me. So should I use this one? Yeah. Give me a minute. There's also this paper, which is also hot press cotton and 300 grams per square meter. This is a Chinese brand which creates lovely paper. I mean, this is painted on their paper. I'm going to use a piece of it. I volunteer for bookmarks. Of course you're getting some. I know where you live. In order to make this somewhat presentable, I'm going to fix it with a fixing tape. This is usually a normal paper tape that can be also acquired at a hardware store. Is it called hardware store? I'm not sure. Anyway. So once again, it is not necessary to pay attention to the brand name, but yeah, this is cotton, this is potentate. It's a nice Chinese brand. And here we are going to try and paint something that I like painting, like, you know, unnamed females. Because I don't have enough patience and time to create an actual portrait, but an unnamed female will suffice to explain how this works. I'm going to keep this piece of paper just to check if the color works. So normally I use acrylic paints like this. Or, you know, I like... there is also a Chinese brand which is called Supervision. It is very good. I'm not going to show it, but, you know, stuff like this. But this paper is too thin. No, that's not the right word. It is rather thin for acrylics, but you can paint with acrylics on watercolor paper. Should you, though? I don't know. But yeah. Oh, just to show you how this brand works. It's just fun. It's just fun to experiment with this because it's just nice. This is not hot press. This is a different texture. But anyway. Where was I? Unnamed females. So, I'm not going to put much detail into it. Just, you know, and some flower. I'm not sure if you can see. You can see it. Hopefully, you can see it. One of the weirdest things I have recently acquired a taste for is the graphic dust. Graphite. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right, but the thing is, it is used almost as easily as, you know, just powder for your face when you use makeup. So you can add the shadows with it, and you can erase it with a simple eraser. So yeah, graphite dust. Next on our list, have a special eraser for it, just, you know, to add the lighter parts. This thing also helps because this is practically a paper thingy for just blending things together. It is already dirty, so I can use it to add some shadows. Normally it's just blending things together. But as we are still on the theme of graphite and such like, there is also this thing. I'm not sure which brand this is. Faber & Castle, I think. This is aqua graphite, and I'm going to show you magic. See, it works like normal pencil. I can erase it like a normal pencil. Like, you know. Just for these cases I have this fan brush, because it doesn't always work good with hands. But you see, if we add some water to this graphite, it works like ink. And I'm absolutely fascinated by it. Once you use it like ink, you cannot erase it. That's its final form, which in my opinion is amazing. So yeah, once this dries, this doesn't move. Next on our list, I think we don't need those. Next on our list is going to be ink. That's not some usual ink. That's the thing that is called sheen ink. And this exact one is from the brand Malevich, and I am almost certain they have some knockoffs. So, you see, it appears dark, almost black, but if you have it here thusly and move it a bit, it changes. The chaos it creates appeals to me very much. I'm not finishing here. But you see, it started like something violet and it appears to become something greenish. This exact shade of this sheen ink is called Ursula. So I think it fits. This is the right time to sing something about poor unfortunate souls or something. So you see, the range of colors is quite an interesting one. I'm going to let this dry a bit, and while it dries, I'm going to prepare all the other paints. Yeah, kind of magic. So, I usually use the masking liquid because in my days it was non-existent, and I was fascinated by its existence. Because, it is such a cool thing. You just add a small part of it, and it preserves everything you paint over. It preserves the original paper part from anything you add over this. And I prefer to use sculpting tools instead of painting tools because it works like glue. So it is not a fun thing to clean the brushes after using it. So yeah, sculpting tools, masking, Mask in Liquid. I'm not sure if this is a French brand. I think so. Anyway, we are getting to the fun part. Because the most unpredictable paint is the watercolor. And here I have an absolute Chinese no-name. And a travel kit from the Russian brand Nuance. And I know that these guys, there is a Chinese version. This is the pastel palette. They won't be this light when we work with them. But this and this needs to be activated. These are the dry version of watercolors that need some activation by water. I'm not sure which colors I'm going to use. I mean, look at this. I love this ink. Anyway, this one. Maybe this one. Normal watercolors don't include white. But yeah, I'm living dangerously. So activating watercolors is basically just adding water to them in advance. I've been taught not to use the black color, and this palette doesn't even include a black color, so yeah, we're in luck. Once this gets a bit wet, no pun intended, once this gets a bit wet, it's going to be easier to scoop some color with the brush. I'm not using this brush, I'm just using it to add water to the watercolors. Yeah, speaking of the brushes, I am a sucker for travel kits, so this is magic. I'm not sure which brand this is. I saw it. It's a brand. I'm not going to use this. This is too big for my task. Oh, this is Art Secret. Not sure which Art Secret is this. I'm going to use this brush by the same brand. Once again, I'm repeating, do not pay much attention to the brands. The interesting part is that you should make the whole image absolutely soaked in water in order for watercolors to work their magic. So, and in this case, do I have anything else to show? I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, I have. But that's going to be added later. I already have this color here, and it is bleeding here. I like it. Embrace the chaos. And I'm going to make Our Lady a bit blue. So the basic color is going to be bluish. The main idea is to remember that everything you add here is going to be very liquid. It's going to be moving. And anything you add to the mixture before this dries is going to be changed by the colors that are next to the colors you've added. So yeah, it is just important to remember. Another thing that I wasn't taught in my art school days is that you can do these things. Yeah, this is a bit too light, so I'm adding a bit more blue. And this is the toughest part, because you have to wait for this to dry in order to add some more details. When I do something with this recording, I'm going to add some, time-lapse parts to this, because this is going to take quite a bit of time. And while this is drying up, I'm going to show you my small treasure. This is also watercolor. For the love of God, I cannot remember the name. This is another no-name Chinese brand, which works well enough. I mean, you don't have to be absolutely good, you need to be good enough. And normally I use this to add some accents to the paintings, like, do I have some example here? Yeah, this is it. Oh, hi! So yeah, except for that. These are also activated by water, so I'm going to activate those. Which should I use? I think this one and this one. And I'm going to put them to a bit of rest. Well, this is not completely dry, but it doesn't have to be absolutely dry, it has to be dry enough. So I'm going to work a bit on the shades here. See, the interesting part is that you can already see the parts where the masking liquid is working its magic. Because this is going to be white when we finish with the preliminary underpainting. This is almost dry, so I'm going to start there. I know a lot of people who think that, those are academics, who think that you shouldn't mix the colors. You shouldn't mix the kinds of paint. But here, today, we're going to mix those. I'm going to add quite a bit of acrylics afterwards. And those are very specific acrylics, and I'm going to explain why, how, and what is my usual choice of those. So yeah. I'm looking into the camera viewfinder because the painting itself is a bit angled to me. So yeah, we have a shadow here, we have a shadow here. Nothing much, just, showing how this works. So, she's a bit blue, but we knew what we were going in for. And as it dries, you can see that you can add more details. They still are going to float a bit, because this is still a very wet piece of paper. But it should work I've seen people asking me why and how do I use the fan brushes for this kind of paintings. Normally this would be a good idea to use fan brush for what I'm doing right now, because they are very broad. Another thing, except for trusting the process, another thing that I've been taught is that the point that is the closest to the viewer is the most contrast one. So pay no mind to this weird color. It is going to work. I see the comment about the adding wet colors. I see it. Anyway, I'm going to mix a bit of darker shade here. I'm still going to wait until this dries, because I'm going to remove the masking liquid. This is not a normal angle to paint a human face, but yeah. As for the masking liquid, I'm using this one, but any one works. Any liquid like this works. Yeah. So, give me a second, kind sir. I'm not going to disturb this pattern because I quite like the way this works. Just for the record, I'm going to repeat, I still don't know the name of this. Half of my materials are Chinese no names. The point is, you are using, preferably, you are using contrast colors and the paints that work well with the paper you choose. In this case, this is 100% cotton. And you see here we have pinks, and in order to make it more contrast, you should add blues. And wait a second, I need to add one thing. A friend of mine recently sent me this, which is a pin, but it is also a color circle. So in this case, we're working with this and this. So yeah, this range is ours. It kind of helps. It is kind of a good reminder. So I'm going to look for my eraser. Ah, yeah, there you go. Is this dry enough? I hope so. Yeah, it is. So once again, the most contrast part of the painting is the part that is closest to you. This is not dry enough yet. This is okay. I mean, I know there are other masking liquids that work well, but I still have this one and I'm not just out of it yet. That's my only reason for using it. So this bluish thing is going to work well here. Outside of the frame, I'm just poking at some paper napkin. This is going to be one of the most silent videos I've made, but still. Once the thing is dry, you can add the details and add another layer of color, because watercolor works really well in layers. I feel like I'm sniffing the camera, but anyway. I can get rid of this one. I'm not going to. It's just fun. So which colors do I have? The thing is, this is the palette of this image is mostly cold. But I think I have some warm colors to add here. Because that they would play nice with this. Is it a feather? Is it a leaf? We don't know. Who cares? I don't. Okay. And one thing that my teacher in my art school managed to teach me is that when using color, don't be afraid to use color. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Anyway, at this stage, I think it's safe to say we don't need to add anything more in this kind of color, in this kind of paint, but just in case for the situations when you need to add some light, I have these acrylic markers, which I love dearly because they allow one to add some cheating white lines, some extra highlights, and quite a lot of images you've seen of mine have those as things that add the accent. They are also water soluble, and they work pretty much as acrylic paints. This exact brand is Languo. I know that others exist. Haven't tried them. I've tried these. And as we've activated some golden shades, I think it is quite fun to add some glittery accents, because why not? If you can make thing glitter, make it glitter. And don't be shy about making things glitter. Should I add anything more? Nah, I don't think so. So yeah, that's the range of the colors I have. That's the range of the paints I usually use. I hope this was self-explanatory. And once you remove the tape, you can see if this bled much. This didn't bleed much. Some involuntary ASMR. So yeah, this is still a bit wet, and you can see the glittering parts. And this is a bit... This needs some cleaning. But this is how things that I use work. It is not always that I use graphite and aqua graphite as the underpainting, but it is quite common that I use simple pencil in order to paint things over. So yeah, thanks for being here, and I think that's all. And I also hope this was, if not educational, a bit entertaining. So yeah, have a nice evening and love and peace.